Welcome to Triple M NRL Daily on your Thursday, which means we've got two of the absolute greats in the house, Wade, William Graham and Josh Grubby Reynolds. How are you, boys?
Fantastic, Charlie. Another Thursday call-up for me. I think our man Luke Keary got some more commitments. Could find a regular spot here on a Thursday with you boys.
Yeah, it's really good. You bring more than him, that's for sure.
That's easy to do, though.
Yeah,
That's easy
it's
to
true.
do. Yeah.
But yeah, he's very, very busy, man, making big, bold statements everywhere he goes.
Sacking
Everywhere.
coaches.
Yeah, he's got his coach sacked.
Yeah, dropping players. I think he wants the whole
Yeah.
Dragons team dropped, basically.
The whole team.
The whole team, yeah. Put the reserve grade team in. But, mate, what's the real story about why you weren't on Monday? Because a little spy tells me that you just wanted to get on the piss and watch the Masters.
Well,
And that's why we didn't see you here on Monday.
you know, I did definitely watch the Masters, but it's school holidays, mate. So I wasn't enjoying myself in any establishments. So I did watch the Masters, of course, but school holidays, you know, I've got to shuffle the decks on the school holiday and just do my thing.
That's
So
absolute bullshit. Definitely just want to watch the
Shuffle
Masters
the
and then go
decks.
play golf after. He's like one of those blokes who watches the sport and then like wants to go play it.
Yeah, he's
as
not
soon as the event finishes.
He's not really watching it. It's just an excuse.
Yeah.
You do something, don't you, with your mates? Something. Maybe was it the Masters? You go and watch it somewhere and get on the piss? No, I'm being serious.
yeah, we did last year.
Last year, yeah.
We did. But this
see?
year I had the kids at school holidays. It doesn't work out, mate.
Yeah, right.
Don't
Sweet.
bullshit. Don't
Come on,
bullshit.
man.
it.
I will tell you the
bullshit
truth.
up.
When do I ever fib to you boys? Then I'll tell you the truth.
First time is now.
If you did watch the Masters, you probably would have gone to Liquorland, and they're our sponsors now here, which is amazing. Liquorland legendary, obviously choose to drink wise. But boys, tonight big game. It's a really big game. It feels like for the Cowboys because they've won a couple games they weren't expected to win, and now Manly travels up there and they're favourites, and they need the win.
What about Toddy Payton's change of events? It was him and C. He was gone first two rounds, and then all of a sudden he's God.
Yeah.
He's back. But like it's the Cowboys though, isn't it? Like that's the type of side they are. Like they can be like look really, really good, but then put in a really poor performance and you go, yep, that's the Cowboys. But one guy that I just cannot believe the way he's playing is Tamale. Like he has turned back the clock. Like I think he played 45 minutes the other day last week and ran for over 135 meters. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's him back in the day. Like you couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
So he's obviously putting them on the front foot. Scotty Drinkwater's been in the media a lot, but he's been brilliant. You can sort of understand why a lot of teams, especially the desperate ones, are willing to pay a lot of money for him because he's like his variety and variation on his sweep lines is probably the best out of anyone. I think he watches the defense a lot and he can adapt on the run. And then you've got Purdue. Like they're just a really good rounded side. But a guy, Wader, that I love, and he goes a bit underrated for these Cowboys sides, Jake Clifford.
Yep.
I think because their spine's pretty. They've got some superstars in it. He sort of flies under the radar, but mate, he competes on every play. I don't know what style of halfback you'd call him, but mate, he kicks when he needs to kick. Like he puts up his own bombs, he chases them. He's just always there, and I think he just suits this Cowboys team. But they've just been put in some really good performances, but this is a game where they can drop expected to win. I'd say at home, and sometimes they can sort of like knock off. They've sort of done that in the past, haven't they? But, mate, they've turned it around.
Well, it's going to be a good battle because we know, Manly up there playing in Townsville, that dry surface. So they like to throw the ball around. And so I know they've simplified their game plan a bit since Kieran's taken over. They're playing much more direct, between that middle third. But they have some strikeout whites still. They always have Cooler, Tommy Travojevic at the back there. So it could be a little bit of a shootout. But you have to be happy for the teams. Like Manly, the way they started their season under so much pressure, they move on from their coach. They've gone back-to-back since. And then Cowboys, Toddy Payton coming into the season, talk about pressure. Well, and I think the pressure with the Cowboys comes from because they have a stacked roster. Like some other clubs, like you look at the Dragons and where they're situated, you go, okay, well, you can understand it. Sure, they need to be playing better and probably would have hoped for a few more results go their way, but the Cowboys, there's no excuse with the players that they have up there. Plenty of Origin experience. Tamalolo's back playing exceptional football. So a great way to kick off our weekend. I probably, I might tip Manly.
Yeah.
I might tip Manly. I think the upset. I don't know. For some reason, I've got memories of Tommy Trbojevic going off up in Townsville, and I just think the track up there, they'll be happy to throw it around. And if they continue on the way they have under Kieran Foran, I can see him causing an upset.
Yeah, apparently, well, he goes off on the field and apparently goes off after as well.
So I think every NRL player looks forward to that
But
trip.
yeah, one of the great trips. Hey, one thing, watch boys, I think the one thing that the Cowboys are really taking advantage of is because the game's so fast at the moment, you're not getting 9 to 10 in a kick chase. I think the Cowboys have identified that, and you're probably getting, on average, 6 to 7, and they play the best from the backfield because Drinkwater will throw 30-metre passes and hit Tuolangi on the chest, and instead of some teams they go bang, bang, try and get you through the middle, that's how they're trying to generate their first two. Even though, you get the wingers that try and carry. Mate, they're so good at it. You watch on the weekend, Drinkwater just fires a ball because that side of the kick chase is, and you've only got 3. They're nearly making half breaks left, right, and centre. So it's going to be a great game. But I'm actually with you. I've sort of said the Cowboys have been great, but I just think Manly go up there. They're playing a confident brand of footy now, and I just think, like you said, I think Foz definitely has had an impact from these teams straight away.
If they do win, that'll be 3 wins in a row under Foz, and then the week after they play Parramatta, who have a stack of players out. They'll be huge favourites in that game. Could be 4 wins in a row. At that point, is he the guy who they give the head coaching role to? They've won 4 games in a row. They can't not pick him almost.
I think. Well, he's certainly the front runner. I know that Matt Ballin's on the radar because of the reasons he's an old boy. He knows that system. Well, Kieran Foran was in the same team with Matt Ballin, and he's doing a great job. I think the test for Kieran will come when they lose a game or they go back-to-back losses. And, there's no doubt he's had an immediate impact. That little sugar rush. The club was under so much pressure with Anthony Seibold at the helm. And Jimmy Graham's spoken about this. When a coach is under pressure, it rubs off on the players. Everyone can feel it. And I think when they finally made the decision to move on from Siebes, that pressure just left the room. Right? They hire Kieran Foran in. He's in the deep end. There's no real pressure. There was no real expectation. He would have cut through to the players, and they've reacted, and they've got back-to-back wins. He certainly is a viable option for him long-term with his start. But the test will come when they lose a couple of games. Can you turn it around? When we're deep into winter, you're in that grind of the NRL season where you got to be so consistent with your preparation, consistent with how you're heading into the weekend and how you're trying to get wins back to back. At the moment, I just think they're in a little bit of a honeymoon period. I wouldn't be. You don't ask your girlfriend to marry you 2 weeks in, do you? You wait until you've gone through the ups and downs.
When you know, you know.
You know.
you know. And until when you go through the ups and downs and you go, this is the way we're going and this is where we see our long-term future.
You know the other angle I suppose you got to look at, boys, Foz was not looking to be a full-time coach at all. He was on Fox. He was sort of going down that road. Then all of a sudden he's been thrown in, and the type of bloke he is, he said, I'll put Manly first and, put my Fox career, whether it's on hold or he might not get back into the fold, especially with our mate Kez just sneaking into his chair. But you know what I mean? They got to make sure he wants to do it.
Yeah.
He's loving it at the moment, but he hasn't had any, he hasn't had to, he probably hasn't had to drop anyone yet. Some little things like that a head coach has to do, and deal with the board, deal with fans. There's so much that goes into it. So I think if he definitely wants to do it, and like you said, there's no better guy for me than Kieran Foran to lead Manly.
Yeah, it's incredible. Because at the time, as an outsider, I was oh, it seems strange, Kieran Foran. But then, all of you guys, all the guys who played in his era, can't speak more highly of him. Every single person in the game loves him.
Well, he's authentic, right?
Yeah.
What you see is what you get with Kieran. He's had some, went through adversity through his career. It wasn't always smooth sailing, and he came out the other side of it. And he's an authentic person. You can see it with the way he talks, the way he carries himself, and there's no doubt that authenticity, it cuts through when he addresses the players, and he's growing those relationships over there on the northern beaches.
Manly to pull off the upset. The biggest game of the round, in my eyes, Friday night, Canberra 8 against the Melbourne Storm. Friday, 6 o'clock, got this one on Triple M, so if you're driving home, you can catch this game live. Storm now 4 losses in a row. The last time they lost 5 in a row was 2012. That's the only 5-game losing streak under Craig Bellamy. So they're in sort of uncharted territory here. Can they turn it around, guys? What have you made of the last few weeks for them?
It's hard, isn't it? I
Man.
can't remember a Melbourne Storm team going through what they're going through right now. I think you look back and you go, the Penrith game, okay, like Penrith were a cut above everyone else at that stage of the season. They put the cleaners through Melbourne, but to back that up with 3 straight losses, particularly in the fashion that they have, like conceding so many points and
So are Melbourne
not seeing Harry Grant or Jerome Hughes or Cam Munster like throwing counter attack back or coming up with an answer. And they really look a little bit lost out there. And it's probably the first time in their career they've had to go through this. So it's a tough one. Can they turn it around? Well, you got to back them. Like they're champion players. They've done it at every level, and particularly those 3 that I've just mentioned. But it just goes to show, we always put pressure on the teams when they're in these situations, say the teams at the lower end of the table or who've struggled to play finals, but it can happen to anyone. If you lose a little bit of confidence, you lose a little bit of form, like it's a hard game and you're playing hard opposition every week who prepare just as hard as you do and have, talent that is just as good as you on their night. And Melbourne, they're in a little bit of a patch that I think many NRL fans outside of Melbourne would be happy to see.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time they've seen them have a challenge like this for quite some time. But only the players can fight themselves out of it.
Mate, I just think they got first time in a long time I seen Melbourne get manhandled on the weekend. They just got overpowered by young, keen Warriors players. Like you could feel the energy. Like the Warriors they were looking at each other going, "We've got these guys." Like it was very dominant. And like, mate, there was times when Harry Grant was getting thrown off, by Halamasiva and like he was nothing. And like we never see that. But there's a lot of other factors. I feel like their discipline at the moment is terrible. Like 4th tackle penalties, like two of their players on the weekend. I won't mention their names because we know exactly who they are because we've seen the Bellamy sprays, mate. Like just lazy. And he hates that. You can tell Bellamy, he just hates it. Like if you were to be in this system, you're not going to be squeaky clean, but you got to be able to not come up with those errors. It's an error. A penalty's an error. And mate, they're looking at the screen going, I'm like, mate, unfortunately, this day and age, if you sort of clip someone's beard, you're going to get a penalty. So you either got to fix it or Bellamy's going to fix it for you and he'll probably drop you. I know he's been threatening with that. And I think he might, I don't know. I don't know if I haven't really looked at their side. I don't know if he's made any changes, but I feel they're very, I feel they're very vulnerable this year, Wado. Melbourne's a very aggressive up and in defence style. They're when they're on, they're hard to deal with. Like when I think of them, like Chambers, like some really good centres that really good defensively, and they've always had that up and in. But you need to know it. Like you need to know how to do it. And I feel they're young guys that have come in have struggled. They're missing reads. They're not on the same page. But Harry Grant and all these Hughes and all these guys are expecting, guys, this is our system, but it's just not happening. And I just feel that's how teams are generating. Like momentum. I just feel their reads on the edges. But look at the power they've lost as well. But boys like Katoa, he's power. Nelson, power. And even Coates' carries. Like that's all power. And that's just, I don't know. I keep delving into that, but I just feel they just really got manhandled by a really young side that just went, you know what, we got to run over you. I know that sounds so simple, but they literally just ran harder, and that's how they sort of beat him to the punch. But you're right, it's so weird to see. I always feel Cameron Munster has an answer for everything, but you sort of look at him at the moment, and like even he's got that look in his face, like what's actually going on now? But look, well, we said this last week. Well, I said this. There's no way they'll lose 4 in a row. Now we're saying there's no way they'll lose 5 in a row against the Canberra side that they won, and then now they go back home with a bit of confidence. They're an awful side to play, Canberra. So unorthodox. So I agree. It's game of the round.
Sorry, Wade, you go.
It's in Melbourne, and Canberra have a good record in Melbourne, don't they?
No, it's in Canberra.
It's in Canberra.
Oh, it's in Canberra. Okay,
Yeah.
well.
And Canberra have had a good, I think Ricky Stuart's win percentage against Craig Bellamy is like 33%. And that might sound not very good, but against the Melbourne Storm, it's actually not a bad win record. Yeah. So they've had some good matchups over the years. It's almost a rivalry between these two teams. Sean Blaw's on that extended bench, so he might come back. He's been playing cup the last few weeks. And then also Moses Leo's been dropped. But Hugo Peel is on the extended bench, and he's a fullback who's been dominating in the lower grades, and he's a young kid. He's meant to be a superstar of the future. So I don't know if he'll get a chance on the weekend. Time will tell. But who have you guys got in this game?
You know what? I'm going to tip Canberra. I thought originally when the game was in Melbourne, I'll give Canberra a big chance because they finally turned the corner last week. They got that win against South Sydney. They had to dig deep. South's that late rally at the end. But then I find out it's in Canberra. They haven't performed well at home. So off the back of a win over in Perth, Ricky rallying the troops. We need to get our home form, underway. I can see them going back to back. And unfortunately for Melbourne, that means they're going to equal their record and lose 5 in a row. Is that outlandish to think that?
Nah, not at all, man. No, but the thing is as well, we say, I said the Warriors sort of manhandled them. I feel Canberra can do a similar thing because they've got individual players that just love breaking tackles. They're so unorthodox. Like Hudson Young does the weirdest stuff I've ever seen on a footy field before, but it works.
Yeah.
It really does. He'll go down a short side, pass it back, and they just sort of play that style of footy that can upset someone like Melbourne. And what's going on with Owen Paddy? What's he done?
Well, they want to get him more minutes in cup. That's what they're saying anyway.
Canberra are nowhere near where they need to be. He's going to be one of the best hookers coming through. I don't care if he needs minutes. I want him in my team.
So would you drop Tommy Starling and start on Paddy?
No, Brayley.
Okay.
Yeah. Their 1-2 punch last year was brilliant. And that's nothing on Brayley. But then again, I suppose Canberra's defence has been really poor. So that's probably why he's got Brayley in there defensively because I feel Brayley's a good defender. But, mate, the kid can play. He's a gun. But I don't know.
I agree. I think there is an argument to keep his match fitness up. He needs to be playing a lot more minutes than he would if he's in the first grade team, but it doesn't really develop his game or his confidence. And listen, this is my point of view. Obviously, Ricky's got a plan down there. He's across the youngsters more than me, but I don't think it would hurt to see him a couple of times a month come off the bench at least. And if you want to keep his match fitness and his minutes up, well, there might be a time for him to play 1 or 2 cup games. But featuring in that pressure cooker of the NRL for me, playing, it was always the best experience. You learn by getting out there and, even though it hurts, sometimes getting beat out there is how you learn and you get better at that level.
Well, speaking of getting better, Tamale has dropped himself down to New South Wales Cup. I've never seen this story before either, but Ricky Stewart says Tamale came to him and said, "Mate, put me in cup. I need to be dropped."
There's no way. There's no way. Is this a G-up on the script? Are you using
no,
me?
No. The quotes are legit. He says, Tamale came to me and said I should be playing New South Wales Cup.
Well, he had a bit of not the greatest game on the weekend, but before that, we're revealing our Origin teams later, mate. He was thereabouts for me. That's how good I'm going. The bloke's dropping himself. Yeah. Mate, I've got to teach him. You know when I had a bad game? Don't go anywhere near the coach's office. Sneak around, mate. Just go everywhere. But he's walking directly into the fire. But, man, have you ever heard of that? I don't think I've ever.
Call. Because I thought, listen, on the weekend he dropped a few bombs. Yeah. All right, but they were bombs from Latrell Mitchell. And let's be honest, he's probably got one of the best kicks in the competition when he gets it right. So, he's marking himself very harshly there. But I think, his carries out of the backfield and his work rate and some of the tries that he still scored a 60-metre try where he picked up a loose ball and ran the length. I know there was a little bit of a mishap at the end when he tried to step inside Cody Walker, but he got the ball down and there's a lesson learned for him. It's a big call for a young guy to go in. If it's true, kudos to him because there's no guarantee on when you get that spot back. If you give that jersey up and the replacement comes in and takes it with both hands, well, could spend the rest of the season there in New South Wales Cup, or you're waiting for an injury or an opportunity that way. So it's a big call, but it's a strange one. I've never heard that before. My approach and the majority of the players that I was around, of course I had bad games in my career. Sometimes everyone plays, poorly every now and again, or you don't reach the expectations, or you do some things that hurt the team. But, made sure the next week I was doing everything I could at training to give myself the best opportunity to play better the next week. And a lot of times that's the character of a really good player is the bounce back.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can accept a bad game or a poor game, but, bounce back next week and show us what you got.
How do you think I can think that, like, just looking at Canberra's, how they've lost this year, like, they've been very poor defensively, especially on the edges. I just feel sometimes, I don't know if they have a system, and I don't know, like, if they're communicating, because it just feels like someone says, you know what, I'm coming out of the line here, I'm jamming, one's back, one's forward. And look, like you said, wingers are going to drop bombs. KO Weeks went through a period where he couldn't catch.
Dylan Edwards.
Do you remember? Like,
Dylan Edwards went through a period where he couldn't, like, he had the drops.
I feel that
happens.
I feel that happens, right? And his carries has still been brilliant. So all I can think of, it's got to be his defensive reads or something like that. But for me, get the reps in the week in that first grade squad. But mate, get the New South Wales Cup squad to throw 20 extra plays at you on your heads of what what's going to be thrown at you from Melbourne Storm this week. I just don't feel you have to drop yourself. But look, man, like you said, Wader, he might be a confident kid, and he said, you know what, I need to do this with the team. I want to do it not under the bright lights, and I want to come back in and show the boys what I'm made of.
Yeah, and again, we're only reacting to one statement from Ricky. Like, there might be dialogue in those four walls over the last few weeks that we don't know about here, sitting around talking about it. But like reacting to that one statement, it's like if that's all it is, which I doubt it is, but it's a bizarre. I haven't seen that too often in my time in the game.
It's interesting, the defensive thing, because Tomoko comes in and all the knock on him has been his defensive side of the game as well. So it's not like they're bringing in a defensive stalwart to replace him.
But it's like, if he's come in, Ricky, like, he's dropped himself.
Yeah.
So could have Ricky said, no, you're not.
No, you're not. We were already missing Savage, mate. Shut up. Get
Yeah,
back on
like-
the wing.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, right? Timoko, that's what Ricky sort of said. Like, you're right. He said, mate, I'm just he's not up to it defensively at the moment. Now you bring someone in. Oh, it's bizarre.
It's funny, like, because you talk about that defensive, those defensive reads. Timoko plays on the right. So Sasangi's been doing such a good job on the right. They'll flip him to the left. So Seb Chris will go to the wing. Maybe it's a chance to get Sasangi onto that other side and go, let's stiffen up that left-hand edge defense a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
So there's they've got some talent down there in their outside backs.
Yeah.
The ability to, put Sebastian Chris, who's been their, one of their best players
Kiwi
in
International.
the last couple of years, to go, you know what, we'll put your experience on the wing. Sasangi can flip, bring Timoko back in.
Yeah, maybe it's because Ethan Sanders has been copping a bit of traffic too. So maybe it is to sort of help him out as well defensively. But look, mate, still find it bizarre.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, that's for sure. And thanks so much to Liquorland for jumping on board with this show as well. They are truly legendary. Choose to drink wise. Let's talk about the Dolphins, though. Big game coming off the bye. They've got the Penrith Panthers. I mean, I think a lot of you boys might have even had them as contenders, top 4 team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not top 4, but definitely they. After the way they attacked last year, I thought there would be a progression in the Dolphins. And it's a weird game to pick because, it could go one or two ways. Like the last time we seen the Dolphins, they got rinsed by Manly. Penrith obviously suffering their first defeat. They're going to be dotting all their I's and crossing all their T's this week. I've done that multiple
You've done that
times.
before.
Yeah.
Mate, you should stay away from
Dotting.
sayings.
I like
Why
it.
Why do you go to sayings? Because you never get them right.
Well, persistence, mate,
what
see?
was the set? There was some saying that you did on the Saturday scrum.
Well, mate,
Yeah.
you know
Recently.
what did I just say about Tamale? Like every now and again you make a mistake. You just got to try again.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep trying.
Keep rocking up.
Keep trying
Keep
again,
rocking
mate.
up.
Don't do that to him, mate.
Yeah.
So dotting every I and crossing every T.
There we
You
go.
see, Charlie?
Don't have to have a long neck to be a goose, Charlie, mate. Okay? I'll get that right.
And you could see Penrith coming out with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and flexing their muscle. But also in the Dolphins camp, they had to go into a bye off the back of that loss, simmering around, stewing around all that emotion into the Easter break, still not being able to get out there on the field and try and rectify the mistakes they made against the Manly Sea Eagles. So they've had a long preparation. They would have watched that Dogs game extremely close, plenty of time to prep. So could you see a potential upset here? I don't know. No, you can't see it.
No way. Not after what happened to Penrith on the weekend. No, honestly, like talking about the Dolphins were embarrassed. That was bad. But I think Penrith thought they were going to win easily on Thursday. I really do. Just the way they come out. They didn't come out out of a gun like they usually do. They got Dogs put a lot of pressure on them, but I think you're right. I think the Dolphins, the Dogs gave teams a blueprint, but it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
You can press a Nathan Cleary once, twice, 3 times. You got to do it the 4th time, the 5th time, because he's always going to keep coming.
Well, 80 minutes.
80 minutes, you got to. But I don't think that a lot of teams have the fitness to do it. The Dolphins, if the one knock I'll give them in that Manly game, mate, the Manly went straight through the middle and they looked tired. The Dolphins looked really bad. And the crazy thing is, Manly have been like going around everyone, but they went straight through the teeth of the Dolphins. So they're going to definitely want to fix that middle. It was really, really bad. One person who I really think and why the attack isn't as good this year that they're missing is Jeremy Marshall-King.
Yeah.
We rave about Katoa. I love Nicaragua, his sweep lines and his ability to get to the exact defenders who he wants. But Jeremy Marshall-King starts it here. Instead of going that way, he goes directly square at defenders and makes them sort of worried. That creates so much space on the edges and just makes it easier for their halves to do what they need to do. I really think they're sort of missing him. But, yeah, that is the worst thing you can do. Lose by 50 or whatever it was into a bye. They would have got an absolute shellacking. But, yeah, I just think Penrith bounced back. Bit of a reality check for them to be like, boys, yep, we're not going that good. I love what Ivan said about a few of his young blokes. They might have been getting ready for Origin camp because there's been a fair bit of hype around their left edge. And, yeah, they'll be ready to go, the Panthers.
Well, listen, I won't go as far to say I can see the Dolphins beating them, but I think they can make it a contest.
Yeah.
Like, I just think of Katoa, Vinny Fuiaki, running those lines, or McLean, Talangi, where Preston and Galvin had so much success.
Out.
Is
Yeah,
McLean
Tate-
out? Oh, he's
Tate goes
suspended.
in.
Well, there you go. Like, even
Yeah.
a new combination. Getting down that edge.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it, and the hammer out the back, ready to, push up support, take those half opportunities. I can see it being a contest.
I'm with you. I think the Dolphins. I will go. I'll tip the Dolphins.
You going to tip the
I reckon
Dolphins?
they're
That's
gonna
a
win.
big call.
I reckon they're going to win.
Well, back him then.
I will.
Don't tip
I'm
them
just-
back.
I will, mate. I
Well, the
will on
Dogs,
You get
Ladbrokes.
five back. I think
Yeah.
five.
The Dogs showed last week. What were Penrith paying? In like
Penrith were like Dogs were $5.50 or $5.80
in
last
rugby
week.
league, anything can happen.
At the moment, too.
On your night, if you perform, the way you can, and the other teams are just not quite 100% committed, possibly, as you said, when you looked at that other game. Like,
Yep.
it's a 2-horse race or 2-team race, and we've seen crazier things happen.
You're right.
It's interesting. I've spoke to Herbie Farmworth and Isaiah Yeo both this week, and they both guys seemed really focused on this game, and like it seemed like both teams were desperate. Like Penrith were really disappointed with that loss against the Dogs. They want to right that wrong, and the Dolphins know that they need to get their season back on track, but in a big way. So you've both got Penrith though. You're not going to.
Oh, no, I'll tip Penrith, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Soft.
Meow.
I think it can be. I think it can be a good contest.
Now, this show is all thanks to Liquorland. The team at Liquorland are truly legendary, but legend, it's a term that gets thrown around a bit, boys. Like I call you guys legends, but you sort of don't like when I call you legends, but in my eyes, you are. In my eyes, you are. Both played for your state. You both played at the highest level, okay? So you're legends in my eyes.
Thank
so
you.
Just accept it next time, please.
will.
But if you've been helping Aussies raise a glass for over 50 years, it's fair to use that term. And that's what the legendary Liquorland team do. They've been filling fridges for all occasions, from cozy nights in to footy parties to last-minute dashes when you forget to bring a bottle. I've done that on many occasions. Because a legendary country deserves a legendary bottle shop who bring the epic value and the legendary drinks on your Liquorland legendary. Choose to drink wise.
Wow.
Now, boys.
What was that voice?
That was legendary.
Legendary.
That was a legendary.
Yeah, read it.
They love us to whisper that.
Oh, you got it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, is
they
that
like us
on
to
the
whisper
brief?
that. It's on the brief. Yeah.
Legendary.
You're not drinking at the moment though, Grubby, are you?
Nope, I'm not legendary.
Oh, 75 hard ends for me on Saturday.
Wow.
So
Good
Is that
timing.
Anzac Day?
no, the
Oh,
week
this
after
Saturday,
this
this Saturday.
Saturday.
Just in
So I
time.
might make a trip to Liquorland and
Yeah.
get stocked
You
up.
have to.
But let's talk about the game Triple M has on Saturday. The Titans Warriors going head to head over there in Auckland, and you'll be calling this game, Grubby.
Yeah, look, it's you would say the Warriors are going to be really win easily, but mate, the Titans, you got to take your hat off to Hene. After the way they started and a couple of the performances that they put in, mate, they embarrassed Parramatta at home. Absolutely embarrassed them. So they he'd be proud of them, mate. Like what the Titans are trying to do and what Hene's trying to do at the moment is create an identity for the Titans. They haven't had one in a long time. They have not had a. When you play the Titans, what are they? People will be like, I don't know, like when you play the Sharks, it's going to be a tough game and bring you down, and you like. Whereas I feel they're slowly finding their way. I'm really enjoying AJ Brimson out in the centres. I think him being out there, they needed a bit of strike, a bit of X factor out there. Campbell, he's a player, and I'm really glad they re-signed him. I think they needed to. I love that he wanted to stay. Like there was obviously other offers and whatnot. But I think they got a lot more out of there. I think there's been a bit of pressure on their front row of late. Like very rarely does Tino get questioned. And he's had a couple of good games coming off the back of that. But I just think the Warriors last week got their mojo back. There's just something about them, mate. Like the way they were cheering with each other, it was like they were playing park footy. Like they were coming out alone, whacking like Melbourne Storm players and like literally, mate. I loved it. They were being grubby, but they were just into, and they looked confident. They just really did. It's crazy. Like we all thought Metcalf was going to come back and just add another whole dimension to this Warriors side, but mate, and this is the worst thing that can happen sometimes when you're actually coming back. Your teams goes worse, and it sort of was the case. And then you get Harris Tavita back there, good defender. Tanner Boyd seemed to take over a little bit more, like he was. Tanner Boyd probably feels he has to rein it in a little bit when Metcalf was there. But mate, they're a powerful side. Like Halamasima, Vaymaga, like Laban. They're so hard to stop, and I just don't think the Titans will be up to it. But one guy that's just brilliant on it, like. We're going to talk about Origin and like G. Wade Egan. Like I know he's probably top 5 hookers, but his deception around the ruck and the way he brings these young forwards onto the ball is why I think the Warriors are having a lot of joy, Wado.
Well, his skill, particularly on try line, to sort of take that one step, engage the markers A defender and B defender, because B's got a hold on those lead lines, but then the service out the back, he whips that pass.
He plays so square.
So square. It's hard. It's almost like a 45.
It's like a no-looker.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's a great skill. And on the two teams, I'll say, for Gold Coast and Josh Henne, you're absolutely right, Grubby. They're on a journey, okay? They know, and Henne knows that they're going to have some good days out there on the weekend. And they're going to have some bad days out there on the weekend. But him at the moment, who he is as a person, like his emotions won't yo-yo because there's so much understanding and patience around. It's a long-term build there.
Is that his personality, Wado?
He is a great communicator. Yep. He able to build up a really good rapport with the players, and I have so much respect for him in the time that I spent with him at the Sharks, and I think he's the perfect guy for that role because, like you said, they're trying to find out who they are. They need to engage. It's more than just for that club and for the NRL. It's more than just their week-to-week performance and them playing finals. They got to engage in their community. They got to bring that community along with them and really get some fans and some members proud and to understand what that Titans badge means, right? Yep. Like, because there's not a lot of history there that you can look back into and go, oh yeah, this is where we come from and this is what made our club. Well, they need to make it. There's some, you think of the early Titans with Scotty Prince, Preston Campbell, guys like that. They sort of lost their way a little bit and they need to rediscover that. And this group under Josh Henne has an opportunity to do that. Is it easy? No. There's been a lot of coaches who have gone up there and tried to lift that club and elevate that club to, where the NRL expects you to be. But I think, Josh Henne is certainly, he's got a really good opportunity, and I'm going to back him in. But the Warriors,
you're backing him?
No, backing him in the long term to build that club up and to get them competing at the level that an NRL side consistently does. But the Warriors, they know who they are right now.
So you're both tipping the wires.
The Warriors, yeah.
Beautiful. The Dragons, it could be D-Day for Shane Flanagan. If they get pumped by the Bunnies, maybe they get rid of him before the Anzac Day clash, boys. What do you reckon?
Oh man, I feel really bad for the Dragons. Like, you got young guys that haven't done anything in the game yet. Asked of early releases, and look, that's no knock on him. That's his manager. Like, let's face it. Like that's just where it is. But it's just you got Sewer leaving.
Mm.
Like, it's honestly like people are jumping off the ship. And that's really sad for a big club, isn't it? But the thing is, everyone's been through it. Look at the Dogs. Mate, for the 5 years, the Dog fan heartache. They struggled for so many years, but look at the Dogs now. Found their identity. Know exactly who they are. They'll find their way. But look, at the moment, like it just seems that it's not working. It's just not working. And they're bringing in Sloan. They're bringing in like Flano's back, Kyle's back in the 7. But then, the one good thing that I love for the Dragons moving forward is they've got young, keen Dragons players, guys that have been brought up in that area that want to play for the Dragons. It reminds me of the days when the Dogs had Josh Jackson, Dale Finucane, David Clemmer, guys that wanted to really be at the Bulldogs, like guys that are going to be, possible Origin players, a couple of them, and they want to be there. You can build around that. But for now, right now, I honestly, I don't know where they're at.
It's funny, like last week's performance, because it was a much improved performance against men. They were in the game for quite a bit. But it sort of puts you in no man's land, right? Because it was an improved performance, but you didn't get the result. And all that matters right now is getting a result down there, whatever it takes, whatever they got to do as a team to just get that 2 points and to ease the pressure of losing so many games in a row. They need to keep fighting for it, but never gets any easier in our competition. And they face a South team who, went down to Canberra last week over there in Perth, and have got so much firepower all over the park. Like you think for a game like this, you don't see the Dragons blowing South away, right? Like they're not going to win 30 to 10 or 40 to 10. The best the Dragons could hope for to be in the game in the last 10 minutes, say it's 20 all or 24 all, and they go, okay, well, who's got more firepower to get their team home? And you look at that South Sydney team and you look at the Dragons team, and you're going to go, well, someone in the South, if the game's on the line, the best the Dragons can do is get the game onto the line with 10 minutes to go. Someone in the South is going to come up with something.
Okay, wait. Let's hope that that's the score, right? You know what I need from the Dragons? It's not going well for you at all right at the moment, right? Okay, so it's not working. You just got to go for it, right? At the moment, I'm not sure why. Well, I do know why, because they're not confident. They're not kicking on last tackle, like near the try line. I understand it's a tactic. We used to do it sometimes at the Bulldogs to stay in the game and keep pressure. But when halves aren't putting grubbers in near the line and stuff, I know that they're not confident. And that shows me a team that isn't confident. They also just got to stop going this set-up play for maybe go here. But they just got to have a crack. They got to start throwing some actual shape. Even if it doesn't come off, I don't care. But at least you're throwing something there. And you got Sloan out the back now. There's no excuses with, the Gutho thing and that. You've got some strike there. So let's use it. If they're up, if they're 20 all and the game's on the line, go for the game. Shoot the lights out.
I agree. I'd love to see Val Holmes, come in from his centre too. Like we see the great centres, well, the good centres in our competition. Crichton will come in. Like he's got a great sense of the game. Tommy Turbo, when he's in at centres, he'll come in and search for the game. And Val's old enough and experienced enough. He spent plenty of time at one. He knows, when the numbers aren't right in front of him or the defence is set right in front of him, that he can get out of his centre and create extra options for his ball players. I'd love to see him just take more options. And to your point, just try something. Like what you're doing at the moment is not not working. You may as well go searching for the ball and, pop up on an inside support or get some extra shape out the back. And, if you don't get the ball, just get back to your centre. Like you're fast enough to get across there.
Have 13 on one side. leave no one here. Mate, you'll get him guessing. Just something.
The Bunnies are trying something. They've brought Matt Duffy into the team. They've plucked him from, rugby league wasteland, and he's going to be playing for them on the weekend. I want to ask you boys, would he walk into that Dragons team, Matt Duffy?
Not walk in. I think he had a bit of an interesting exit from the club. No, but I know what you're saying. I don't know.
Well,
you know what he done well? He played well in the Charity Shield. Gee, he looked good. And he's still got that quickness. He's still got that. And you know what? They need an X factor.
Well, he's similar to Sloan, right?
He is. That's what I was sort of
X factor.
thinking.
It's
similar
much
style
for much.
player.
And whatever the perceived knocks on Sloan are, they're probably the similar knocks on Duffy, right? And it's not what the Dragons were searching for in their idea of how and where they want to be as a football team because they have a guy like Gutho in there who's, safe, like solid as competitor, communicates well. So that's the style they went for. But I think he's similar to Sloan, to be honest.
Would you pull the trigger on Flanagan now if you were in charge of that club?
I know.
Well, listen, it's really hard for me to talk
I know,
about.
he's one of your really good mates. I know. I know.
We had so much success together, but I think he has been trying to replicate what he did at the Sharks and the Dragons, and it's not working. So to the Grubs point again, you got to try something different. Use the players that you have. And I talk about Val. Maybe put him at the back. Get Sloan onto the wing. Put someone else into the centre. There's some levers you can pull, but at the moment they're in a hard spot. I don't envy them at all.
And this is the thing, right? Like coaches, it'd be so hard, right, for Flano right now. He'd literally be thinking half time, what are you boys doing? I've coached a team like yours, and I know this works. But I will say, there was also a guy named Benny Barber, Maloney, Graham, Luke Lewis,
Gallen.
And it's hard. But this is what happens when you get, shafted from a job, and you got to come back in, and you might have to take. But I'm sure Flano has still the same little things that he tells them that he's telling you boys. The same thing he, makes sure that you have to do get week in, week out. They just can't do it, Wado.
Yeah, but the point I'm making, in the recruitment and that, you got the experienced guys around, because all those players, that's the finished product, right? That's where we want to come. But under Flano, I got there in 2011, right? So it was a 5-year build to 2016, but it was a slow build. Every year we got someone different. We got me and Jeremy Smith came in. The next year, Bo Ryan, Chris Hyington, who featured in 2016, Andrew Fafita. The next year comes along Mickey Ennis. The year after, Jim Maloney, Benny Barber, Luke Lewis. So it's a slow build, but there was a steady improvement. It just hasn't worked the same at the Dragons.
See if you boys both got the bunnies in this one then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just can't say it.
Well, let's just quickly, I'm just going to get just tips from this because we're going a bit long today. So just tips on these two games. Roosters, Knights, who do you guys like?
Roosters.
Eels, Dogs.
Dogs.
That's probably enough said about those two games, isn't it? Eels will get absolutely pumped by the Doggies.
I'm not saying anything, but woof.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just one thing on the Knights Roosters game. I want to see the Knights' response.
Yep.
Because what happened to the Knights on the weekend? They were doing to other teams, out enthusing, doing all the little things. They had no ball. They went down to Campbelltown and got spanked. I want to see if they come. This is a big test for them to go away again to the Roosters and see where they're at.
Beautiful. Love that. Well said, Grubby. And well said by you last weekend, because you have created an absolute stampede at Campbelltown last weekend where you managed to create a sellout, all thanks to this podcast. You came out, you said Tigers fans show up, and they did. They sold out. And the game against the Bronx is apparently going to be a sellout as well. So huge news.
What can I say, man?
Listen, I'll back the Grub always, but has it got anything to do with the players on the field winning games?
Nah, nothing. Nothing at all.
What, you don't reckon every single one of those players was looking down that camera saying, look at the Grub.
He's
He
fired up.
played 6 games for us in 4 years. 6 games.
Oh,
And,
I love it.
But no, mate. But honestly, it's good to see, isn't it? It was packed, Campbelltown. They packed out Leichhardt. They packed out Combank when it wasn't their home game. They're finally scraping the surface, the Tigers. And why wouldn't you? Look at their side, mate. When's there ever been in the last 5 to 10 years when a Tigers team has that much depth? They can drop Jock Madden, probably one of the informed 7s of the competition, back to the 14.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's we've never seen Tigers with this much depth. And producer Joel Harrison tells me that they're telling people to stand up at Campbelltown so then they can fit an extra 5,000 in. So
I'm not stand up for anyone. I
Well,
paid for my ticket. Actually, bring him in.
Yeah, Campbelltown, there's a great Lee's Club right next door. So sit all you want in there, have a couple of beverages before the footy, just walk in on kickoff, and then you can stand for 80 minutes. If you want to have a little break at half time, just go and rest the legs maybe in the Lee's Club again and then come back and stand up for the next 40. Get some more people in there.
Even swing by Liquorland, go to your mate's house,
go.
pre-drink before, get sauced up, and then go to the game.
I think
Happy
they let you
days.
bring it into the stadium.
Yeah. I mean, you just dack
They
it.
definitely know.
Just dack it and bring it in that way.
I used to bring it in my footy bag.
Yeah. Do you ever swap the water out, pour vodka in, make it look like it's water? That's what we used to do for music
Oh,
festivals.
yeah. I'm a professional athlete, mate.
Yeah,
I was a
okay.
professional athlete.
Yeah. What's it like though when a star player's been out for a while and he comes back into the team? Does it change? I mean, you two were the stars of your team, and partly, So is it hard when? But what's it like when a star player comes back
Sure,
into
bro.
a team?
What are you watching? I was a passenger.
Mate,
For
one of the
years.
stars. You're one of the stars of your team.
You know what? I find this one why it's a little bit different because Dewey was 7, Luai was 6. They were going great. But Dewey went to 6, Jock was 7. So now Dewey's got to go back to 7, take control of that team. This game, I got a feeling the Tigers aren't going to be as good as they have been just because of that reason. I just think there's a little bit. Jerome's such a different player. You know what Jock and Dewey were doing? Squaring up teams. Jock was going straight, squaring the line. Dewey's just running. He's finding those little passages that Jock was making for him, whereas Luai's a bit more cross-field. Cross, drop. Cross, drop. I'll find a little thing, grab it, try. It's just a different style. And but don't get me wrong, he should have been the 6, 100%. But they're different style of players. So I think they might take a little bit from just to get back into that flow.
And in those key positions, there's also the different voice. Like they're strong communicators and that loud voice. It's a little bit of combination thing that can change it. I always remember when I returned from an injury or anything, if the team was going well, I had an obligation to go out there and play one of my better games and, try to be physical early, like let them see my defense or my first carry, let them see me be physical and go, oh, yeah, he's back. He's back. Like,
it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He's back. This is why he's back. So there's an obligation to the guys who have been holding the fort and not just holding the fort. Like they've been excelling. Okay, you've done that while I've been out. I need to repay you, and I'm going to show you why I'm going to repay you.
Can I just say one thing, boys, right now? Jock Madden went that well that I feel he can't be a 14 for much longer. If I'm the Dragons, I'm making calls. Honestly, there's not many 7s out there that done what he done in this short period of time. Jock's, I know his contract to the end of next year, but look, the Tigers are going to want to keep him. But look, I know Jock. I played with him when I was at the Tigers. Actually, he was there before. He's a great kid. I think he'll stick to his contract. But when you see someone like that, you need to snap him up.
Well, there's also a couple of other teams. The Bears, they're looking for a half.
Yeah.
PNG will be looking for a half, and they're
Very true, man.
They're not the highest concentration of players that we have. So if there's an experienced guy who can get out there and steer a team around, like they come in at high demand.
Absolutely. I've gotten pissed with Jobman's parents before in Las Vegas.
Hey, you just
can't,
Liquorland advert.
Go
like,
one more Liquorland.
Liquorland,
Yeah, let's go.
Liquorland,
They've got you
legendary.
excited, and you one
they
week
legends?
out from your 75 hard finishing.
He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's
he's
got the-
winding up the shoulders.
Ready to
hair on
go.
the back
Mate, it's
of
been a
his
long
neck is
break. It's been
standing
a
up.
long break. Choose to drink wise, of course. I'll be drinking wise first game back. But we set you guys a challenge. So 2 New South Wales legends, as I said earlier. And you were a back, Grubby. You could play back and forwards, but predominantly a forward at Origin level. I know you've jumped in at halves when Nathan Cleary did his ankle in a game and guided New South Wales to a famous win. But you're going to pick the forward pack for New South Wales and you're going to pick the back line for New South Wales, Josh Reynolds. Apologies, Queensland fans. We'll do this for the same thing for you next week. If you're like, you just focus on New South Wales, don't worry.
Don't
We'll get you
apologise.
next
We're always first.
Are we going to pick the Queensland team? Like, why would
Maybe.
they want to see us pick a team?
Well,
Like,
maybe we'll get Gordon Tallis on the line. Yeah, we'll get him to
text.
text in the 4-pack.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
analyse it.
I don't want to pick their team.
Like, imagine Queensland listening to me and you pick a Queensland team. I'll pick a team for you.
Let's go with the backs first, Grubby.
All right. Sorry, I don't even know who I picked with all the scribble on my page. Number 1. A very interesting one. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with me, but I've got a reasoning behind it.
Okay.
And it was from last Thursday night. I've gone Turbo. Turbo,
Wow.
mate, what he's doing at the moment at Manly is the Turbo evolved. Injury-free. I'm picking him. Reason behind it. What the Dogs done to Nathan Cleary the other night, Queensland are going to do the exact same thing. Put pressure on him. They've done it for a long time, and this is why people have this conversation. Nathan needs to play better in Origin, even though I think he's been very solid. But it's this conversation between him and Joey, and whether we like it or not, it's happening. When I see Nathan Cleary get shut down, I just feel Dylan Edwards isn't the same player either. So if people have got Edwards at 1, I feel if Nathan Cleary's being shut down, Turbo can do his own stuff. He can link up with Mitch Moses and still got points in him. Whereas Dylan's more the effort guy. He's your effort guy. He's everywhere. He's solid at the moment. He's catching bombs. He's over 250, 300 meters. But I just feel at the moment, if they do that, and look, I really hope Nathan comes out, and even if they do put pressure on him like they did, he finds a way, and I think he will. But that's why I've picked Turbo.
Okay.
Which was interesting.
Just a quick one. I don't mind that because, if there's Isaiah Yeo, who I've got in the team, and Nathan Cleary in the team, Edwards can constantly be searching for them voices, building off them because he's so used to that at club level. Tommy will build off them because that's his job, right? And he'll understand what the team's trying to achieve. But if Tommy sees something himself that he likes, he'll overcall it and take it on. And that's what you need at that level.
You need it, man. Especially if they're like shutting Nathan down, and he has to, because feeling the Origin a lot, like the halves are going to worry about the kicking a lot. So number 2, Toto. I don't know if he plays 2 or 5, but
Either way,
he's there. He's a lock in Origin. Just
late Amazare.
I've got Critter, depending on the injury, but
he's probably playing this weekend, so he should be sweet.
Can't tell you. But I've gone Latrell.
Yeah.
But I want an aggressive Latrell. I don't want sit out in the centres, and I need Latrell to be a bit different to how he's playing. Like, he's playing good at the moment, but I want him to dominate whoever that other centre's going to be. Like, dominate him. When he gets in that mood and he's like ragdoll them. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want from Latrell. Me mate, the Lebanese cedar, Jacob Carraz for a debut.
Well, he's injured. Isn't he injured at the moment?
No,
he's been battling injuries.
He's made for Origin, mate. We all heal quick at the Bulldogs.
I'd have the other winger, Marcelo Montoya, your other doggies winger.
Origin.
Yeah, I think he's eligible, isn't he?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I just think Carraz, his carries out of the backfield, he's awkward. He's safe in the air. And you know what kills teams? He's late offload. Oh, my God. Like, I watch teams try and deal with him, and it goes all the way. They drag him back, offload, make 20. So I think it's time that he gets the call back in, especially, with Zach not being there and someone probably going to replace him. And then I've got Mitch and Nathan. I just think Mitch in Origin was brilliant. I think he deserves the opportunity, even though Parra have been struggling. I think you got to pick him just off the back of what he's done in the Origin arena. And Nathan's my 7.
I notice you sort of pretend to be Lebanese, like even though you're Aussie, you pretend to be Lebanese, and you pick 2 Lebanese players in your back line. I think you've been a bit biased towards the Lebanese people.
Well, look, all I can say is I'm not Lebanese. I'm a quarter. From Rishalde. That's the village I'm from. It's the only one I know.
Your 4-pack weight. And you're doing the bench as well,
I'll run through it pretty quick because it's hard to do a 4-pack without saying your bench.
Yep.
You've left some key forwards out. So I've got Haas and Adam Fanua-Blake in the front row. 1-2 punch. Because of that, I picked Blake Brayley as my 9. Obviously, some Sharkies bias, but I think his running game, with generating quick play the balls, he's the quickest out of hooker in the competition. So need to fight fire with fire. We know Harry Grant gets out and runs. I think Brayley needs to do that as well. Back row, I've gone Hudson Young and Liam Martin. They've been there before. I love their aggression. I think Grubby called Young a freak because he doesn't know what he's doing half the time, but we need that unpredictability. Isaiah Yeo in lock. My bench, I've got Barnett, Spencer Leniu, Cameron Murray, and Stefano Utoi-Kamanu.
Wow.
So I've gone the 4 forwards on the bench, 4 big boys. Obviously, Murray, he can come on as 13, 12, or 11 if you need to make that change. And the other big boys are there. But this is where the bench is so intriguing this year, the 6-man bench. So I've added Reece Robson, back Brayley to play 80 minutes.
Yep.
But if disaster happens and your hooker go down, well, we've got a specialist hooker that can come on and play hooker. And then poor old Matty Burton, who's always in this area, is because he's so good at and with his versatility. I've got him as 19 just because if anything happens in the outside backs or the halves, also another specialist who's plenty of experience in those positions, he can come on and do that job. And then if one of those 3 forwards don't get on, you make a decision where you just rotate between Fanua-Blake, Haas and the other middle that you've used. And then as 20th man, I've got Jacob Preston. If someone was to happen to Liam Martin and he's not 100% fit Origin time and he's unavailable, Preston's a lock for me at right back row. He plays 80 minutes and he's going to be there sooner. Oh, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when for him. And Once he gets there, he's 80 minutes in that back row position.
Gee, it's some team. It's some team. The
Not so
addition
bad.
of Adam Fanua-Blake's going to be massive for New South Wales.
Do you feel Wado Fanua Blake at the moment? He's going all right with the speed of the game, and Origin's going to be another level up. Like the only reason I say that, like, because you've just got guys like Ford's been tossed up, speed, Twal. I'm not saying they should be at the side, but it's just the speed of the game and the way it's going. You think he could handle it, mate? You know, you probably know him firsthand. Yeah,
I've seen him at training, and I think again, he plays big minutes at Cronulla because he's has such an impact on that team. But he doesn't need to be big minutes in Origin. Like, he can just really tone down his game and just be powerful into the line. Mate, don't worry about the shape and that. Just use your body and your footwork. You got Haas who can play big minutes. You got Barnett coming off the bench with his leg speed and his experience. Lenu for his power. Cam Murray who can he can clean up through the middle, and then Big Stefano, bang, another big body. Again, in that Melbourne team who's struggling at the moment, but just you get him there around other good players, and I always plan a team, picking a team on, like, if we get our game plan right, you know, you got to Latrell, Critter out of the backfield, Carraz, if you want him out of the backfield, they're going to be generating our quick play the balls, and then just big bodies off the back of that. So
like it. What a team.
Time will tell. Loz, he's got some big decisions. I tell you what, the next month, 5 weeks of footy, you just see the intensity go up from the best players, knowing that, listen, there's club obligations and we want to build our season, but you know what's on the horizon.
I can't wait. Origin. It's getting closer now. It's only like 6-7 weeks away, so can't wait. Can't wait for it. Great show, boys. We'll be back next week, but enjoy your footy in round 7.